It used my cousin's voice. Part 1. My parents left for the weekend, so my cousin David came over for a sleepover. Nothing unusual. We ordered pizza, played video games, and stayed up way too late watching horror movies in the living room. Around 2 a.m. we finally crashed in my room. I don't know how long I'd been asleep when David suddenly shook my shoulder. "Bro," he whispered. "Did you hear that?" I sat up, half asleep. "Hear what?" He stared toward my bedroom door like he was listening to something downstairs. "I think someone's in the house." That instantly woke me up. We both stayed silent. The whole house was completely still. Then the air conditioner kicked on. David let out a nervous laugh. "Never mind, I'm tripping." He grabbed his phone and walked out of my room anyway. "Where are you going?" I asked. "Bathroom." I heard his footsteps fade down the hallway. About 10 minutes later, he came back into my room without saying anything. He climbed into the other side of the bed and pulled the blanket over himself. "You good?" I asked. He just made a quiet grunt. I figured he was embarrassed for freaking out over nothing, so I went back to sleep. I woke up sometime later to this awful sound beside me. Gurgling, somewhat laughing, like someone trying to laugh underwater. I groaned and shoved David with my elbow. "Dude, stop." The noise stopped immediately. That's when my phone lit up on the nightstand. 3:17 a.m. One missed call from David, and a text message underneath it. "Had my mom pick me up. Stomach was killing me. Sorry for leaving." My entire body went numb. Slowly, I turned my head toward the bed beside me. The thing under the blanket wasn't David. It was facing me now. Its eyes were wide open. Too wide. Its mouth stretched into a smile so big the skin around its cheeks looked torn, and it whispered in David's voice. "Why did you shove me?" It used my cousin's voice. Final part. I screamed and fell backward off the bed. The thing unfolded itself from the mattress in a way no person could. Its arms were too long, bending backward as it crawled toward me across the sheets. I ran. I sprinted into the hallway while it chased behind me, its hands slapping against the floor and walls. "Wait!" it called out in my cousin's voice. I nearly slipped running down the stairs. Every light in the house suddenly shut off at once. Darkness. Then footsteps above me. Slow, heavy, not human. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. At the top of the stairs, the thing stood there smiling down at me. Its head twitched violently to one side. Then it charged. I ran into the kitchen and slammed the door behind me, holding it shut while the handle rattled violently. "Let me in then!" it screamed. Its voice kept changing. David, my mom, my dad, even mine. The wood started cracking. I looked around desperately and spotted the back door. I bolted for it, unlocked it, and ran barefoot into the street. I didn't stop running until I reached a gas station a few blocks away. The police searched the house later that night. They found every door locked, every window shut, no signs of forced entry, and no one upstairs. But they did find something in my bedroom. Deep scratches carved into the wall beside my bed, over and over. The same words repeated again and again. "My stomach hurts." I thought to myself, didn't David's stomach hurt? I immediately called David, and after a while of ringing, he answered. Too late. Terrified, I end the call. Then my phone goes off. It's a photo from David. Arms, legs, all stretched in a horrifying way that's not humanly possible, with the same torn smile. Someone is in the attic, part 1. For 3 months, Noah woke up every night at 3:03 a.m. Not because of a nightmare, because someone was dragging something across the attic floor. It always stopped after a few minutes. His parents never heard it. His younger sister never heard it. Only Noah. One night he decided to record the sound. He left his phone on his nightstand and went to sleep. That night, Noah woke suddenly. The room was pitch black. For a moment, everything was silent. Then he saw it. A tall figure standing motionless in the corner of his room. His heart nearly stopped. The shape was unnaturally thin, its head almost touching the ceiling. It wasn't moving. It was just watching. Noah grabbed his flashlight from the nightstand and flicked it on. The corner lit up. A coat hanger. Nothing more. A jacket hanging from it created the illusion of a person. Noah laughed nervously. His heart slowed. He turned off the flashlight and went back to sleep. Hours later, he woke again. 3:03 a.m. The scraping had started. Noah opened his eyes. The coat hanger was still in the same corner, exactly where it had been before. Relieved, he glanced away, then froze. Something was standing in the opposite corner. A corner that had been completely empty earlier. No coat hanger, no furniture, nothing. Yet now a dark shape stood there, tall, still, watching. Noah's breathing stopped. Slowly he reached for the flashlight. The shape didn't move. He switched the light on. The corner was empty. Nothing there, just bare wall. His flashlight trembled in his hand. Then he heard a faint creak above him. Directly over his bed, someone was walking in the attic. The next day, he listened to the recording from his phone. The scraping was there, but so was something else. A voice, very faint, coming from directly above his room, repeating the same sentence over and over.
He's awake. He's awake. He's awake.
Noah's blood ran cold. He thought about showing his parents, but knew they wouldn't believe him. Noah decided to get more proof. At 3:03 a.m., the scraping returned. This time it sounded closer, directly over his bed. Then came a loud thud, like something heavy had fallen. Noah sat up. The attic access hatch in the hallway was open. He knew it had been closed when he went to bed. A dark square gaped from the ceiling. He stared at it. Then he noticed something that made his heart stop. Someone is in the attic, part 2. A trail of dark footprints leading from his room to the attic, as if whatever came down from the attic had been standing outside his room, listening, watching, waiting. Noah locked the door and stayed awake until sunrise. The next morning, he climbed into the attic. He needed answers. The attic was empty except for boxes and insulation. No footprints, no signs of anyone. Then he found an old photograph buried beneath a pile of junk. The picture showed a family standing in front of the house decades ago. A mother, a father, a little boy. And behind them, looking down from the attic window, was a pale face. A face that wasn't part of the family. On the back, someone had written, "Don't let it know you can hear it." Noah dropped the photo. A scraping sound echoed somewhere behind him. His heart nearly exploded. Without looking back, he bolted toward the attic ladder. Boxes blurred past him. Dust flew into the air. He practically fell down the ladder into the hallway below. The impact knocked the wind out of him. For a moment, he just lay there, staring at the ceiling and gasping for breath. Then he looked up. The attic hatch was still open. The darkness above seemed endless. At first, he saw nothing. Then a face slowly emerged from the blackness, pale, motionless, smiling. It was staring directly down at him. Noah froze. The face didn't blink, didn't move. It simply watched. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it slid backward into the darkness and vanished. Gone, as if it had never been there. The attic remained open, silent. Noah let out a shaky breath. Maybe it had been a trick of the light. Maybe he was imagining things. Then his stomach dropped. His phone. He had dropped it in the attic. The recording, the evidence, everything was on that phone. Noah stared at the open hatch above him. Every instinct told him to leave it there. But after several minutes, he decided to go back. He grabbed the flashlight from his room and slowly climbed the stairs. His flashlight trembled in his hand. As he peeked his head over the edge, the attic appeared empty. Boxes, dust, old furniture, nothing else. Then he spotted his phone lying a few feet away. Relief washed over him. He reached out and grabbed it. The screen flickered to life. Still working, Noah let out a sigh of relief. Then he heard the scraping. It had come from somewhere behind him. Slowly, very slowly. He turned his head. The figure was standing inches away. Its black eyes were fixed on him. Its smile stretched impossibly wide. Before Noah could react, 2 long arms shot forward and wrapped around him. He was yanked into the darkness. His flashlight hit the floor and spun in circles, throwing wild beams across the attic. For a brief moment, the light illuminated the creature, dragging Noah deeper between the boxes. Then the attic hatch slammed shut, and the house was silent once again. Don't Look Outside Your Window at 3 a.m., Part 1. I suddenly woke up. I had the worst nightmare, but couldn't remember what it was. I felt out of breath, sweating. Something felt off. It was 3:14 a.m. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of my fan. After a few minutes passed, I stood up. That's when I looked out my window. A man was standing in the middle of the street, perfectly still. His arms hung at his sides. His head was tilted slightly upward, and he was staring at my house. I froze. The street was empty except for him. No cars, no movement, nothing. Just him, watching. Can he see me? I thought to myself. My room was dark. I was on the 2nd floor. There was no way. I picked up my phone and zoomed in. The image became grainy. The moment I focused on his face, my phone vibrated. One new message. Unknown number. A photo. My stomach dropped. It was me, asleep in my bed, taken from inside my room. The clock read 3:07 a.m. 7 minutes ago. My hands began shaking. Someone had been standing in my room while I slept. Before I could think, another message arrived. Look outside. I slowly raised my eyes to the window. The man hadn't moved, but now his head wasn't tilted toward the house. It was tilted toward my room. Toward me, as if he knew I had seen the photo. Another message appeared. I am closer than you think. I put my phone down and still see him standing there. He started sprinting towards my house front door. I quickly backed away from the window. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. Then I heard it. Don't look outside your window at 3 a.m. Final part. A floorboard creak from somewhere upstairs. I lived alone. I grabbed a baseball bat by my bed. I locked myself in my bedroom and waited. Then another message arrived. A photo. This time it showed my bedroom door. Taken from the hallway outside. The door was closed. The photo had been taken at 3:14 a.m. I stared at it. Wasn't it 3:14 a.m. a couple of minutes ago? I asked myself, confused. Then I heard 3 slow knocks. I couldn't breathe. Another message arrived. Please open the door. My blood ran cold. Whoever was texting me was in the hallway. I quickly looked outside and no one was there. Then the knocking stopped. It was dead quiet. No sound. Until I heard a loud bang followed by running. After what felt like forever, I quietly opened the door. The hallway was empty. Everything looked normal. I took a few steps away from my room and listened carefully. Nothing. I went back into my room and looked around. Everything seemed normal. Until I noticed something on my nightstand. A framed photograph. I'd never seen it before. My legs nearly gave out. It showed me sleeping. Behind my sleeping body stood the man from the street, smiling. I stared at the picture for several seconds before noticing something. The time displayed in the photograph was 3:14 a.m. Then I looked at the alarm clock beside my bed. 3:14 a.m. My phone, 3:14 a.m. Every message, every picture, every moment tonight, always 3:14 a.m. Then I realized, a few days ago I had heard about a serial killer who would stalk and hunt his victims around 3 a.m. The picture I received of me sleeping in my bed was at 3:07 a.m. That's when the man from the street was in my room. It took him 7 minutes for him to, at 3:14 a.m., I had become his latest victim. The Clown Ride, Part 1. There were 5 of us. Me, Carlos, Devin, Brett, and Ronnie. The abandoned amusement park sat outside town, hidden behind miles of overgrown trees and rusted fencing. It had been closed for nearly 20 years after an accident nobody seemed willing to talk about. Naturally, that made us want to explore it. One Friday night, just before midnight, we parked by the old entrance and climbed through a hole in the fence. The place looked frozen in time. Faded ticket booths, broken game stalls, a Ferris wheel standing motionless against the moonlit sky. Everything was silent. Carlos started recording for social media while the rest of us wandered deeper into the park. About 20 minutes in, we found the Clown Ride. Its paint had peeled away long ago. Above the entrance hung a faded sign, Laugh House. The clown face over the doorway was enormous. Its smile stretched unnaturally wide. Someone had painted over the eyes with black paint, or at least that's what we thought. Ronnie pointed his flashlight upward. The black wasn't paint. There were actual holes where the eyes should have been. The inside of the ride was pitch black. Our flashlights illuminated dusty clown mannequins standing along the walls. Most were broken. Some were missing heads. Others had cracked smiles. As we moved deeper, Devin suddenly stopped. Guys. His voice sounded nervous. Count the clowns. We looked around. There were 12 mannequins. Nothing strange. Then Devin pointed behind us. There were 11 when we walked in. Nobody said anything. Carlos claimed Devin was messing with us. But Devin decided to stay in the back of the group because he felt something was off. The ride eventually opened into a large circular room. In the center stood a carousel. Its horses were frozen in place. Dust covered everything. Then Ronnie shined his flashlight toward one of the horses. Someone was sitting on it. A clown. White face, red nose, yellow costume, head lowered, motionless. We all jumped, then realized it was probably another mannequin. Until we heard music. Soft carousel music. The carousel began turning, slowly. The clown's head remained lowered as it rotated past us. Every turn it somehow moved, until it was facing us. The carousel kept turning. Then the music suddenly stopped. The carousel froze. The horse was empty. The clown was gone. Nobody moved. Then Ronnie pointed behind us. The clown was standing near the doorway we had entered through, right behind Devon. The lights turned off, then back on. He was gone. We bolted from the room, screaming for Devon. Footsteps echoed behind us. The clown chased us through a maze of twisting hallways, its laughter bouncing off the walls. Every time I glanced back, it seemed closer. Then we spotted another room and rushed inside. It was a mirror maze, the clown ride, final part. Hundreds of tall mirrors stretched in every direction. At first, we thought we could lose the clown in there. We were wrong. Our flashlight beams bounced endlessly through the reflections. Everywhere we looked, we saw ourselves. And somewhere among those reflections, the clown. At least we thought it was a reflection. Then one of the clowns moved when the others didn't. "There," Ronnie said. We turned. A clown stood between two mirrors, smiling, motionless. Then the lights flickered. For less than a second, the room went dark. When they came back on, Ronnie was gone. His flashlight lay on the floor, still shining. We shouted his name. No answer, only distant laughter. We ran through the maze, smashing into mirrors and taking random turns. Then Brett bumped into something and fell. The clown. Its smile stretched from ear to ear. The lights turned off again. I heard Brett scream. When the lights came back on, they were gone. Now it was just Carlos and me. We finally spotted an exit sign glowing faintly beyond the mirrors. We sprinted toward it. The clown's laughter followed us the entire way. Carlos reached the door first. He shoved it open. We were almost out. Then Carlos screamed. Something grabbed his leg. I looked back. The clown was on the floor behind him. Its long fingers wrapped around his ankle, dragging him backward. Carlos clawed at the ground, screaming for help. I grabbed his arm and pulled. For a second, I thought I could save him. Then the clown smiled, and Carlos disappeared into the darkness. The door slammed shut. I don't remember how I escaped after that, only that I woke up outside the park at sunrise. The police searched the amusement park for days. They never found Ronnie, Devon, Brett, or Carlos. No footprints, no bodies, no evidence, nothing. Years passed. People assumed my friends got lost, ran away, or that I made the whole thing up. Eventually, I stopped talking about it, until last year. I was cleaning out old boxes when I found the camera Carlos used that night. The battery somehow still worked. There was one video file, the final recording. My hands shook as I pressed play. The footage showed us running through the laugh house, exactly as I remembered. Then came the part I never saw. After Carlos was dragged away, the camera kept recording. The clown picked it up. It stared into the lens, smiling, then slowly turned the camera toward the carousel room. 4 people were on the horses, smiling, motionless. As the video zoomed in, I recognized the faces: Devon, Ronnie, Brett, and Carlos. There was one empty horse, with a sign, "The ride isn't over yet."